Hello everyone, this is Brandon Bledsoe from the 3 Percenters Club and 3 Percenters Club Tennessee chapter and Puget Sound Preppers. And this is continuing our bug out bag series, and here tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about clothing. We've been moving steadily through sections of the bug out bag, and I hope I've given some of you enough time to start preparing and everything. But let's just dive right in. First off, with your clothing, you want 2 sets minimum. Most people just go with those 2, and those 2 consist of 1 in the pack and 1 on your back. I'm going to go ahead and tell you something. Don't be stupid, alright? I don't mean to put that word out there, but carry a lot more of these. Carry a lot more of socks. Because if you actually have to bug out on foot and you don't spend a lot of time on your feet like this, you have no idea what's coming for you. I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything, but unless you spend a good amount of time either rucking, at least medium distances, or walking long distances regularly, your feet are going to be in for a surprise, and keeping them nice and dry is a very handy thing. I learned the hard way in the Army, and I've kept my practices up in civilian life, and your feet need to be babied. Now, with that said, we'll cover footwear, but I don't carry an extra pair of the exact footwear I have on. I have backups, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But carry extra socks. Let's just start there. I think I carry 8 pairs of socks, and you'll want them, I promise you. Let's talk about some do's and don'ts. If you've ever taken a hunter safety course, and I don't know about every state, but the one in Tennessee had just a ridiculous amount of information. Some of it was very good information. I think I felt slighted because I knew a lot of it, but you want to stay away from cotton. I'm wearing a cotton sweatshirt right now, but I'm not bugging out either. But you want to stay away from cotton. Cotton provides very little insulation. It'll hold a lot of water, and it will dry very, very slowly. In fact, wet clothing, or wet cotton specifically in most cases, can sap your heat over 100 times faster than just you not having that clothing on. You want to stay away from cottons. Wool is probably one of your best options because it will keep you warm even when wet, actually. And it has a decent drying time. Wool is bulky though. Everything has pros and cons. I also understand a big pro and con, again, is the wallet. So we're going to cover the ways to deal with that, in my opinion anyway. For socks, I pack these OD Green Army socks here. I actually don't know what they're made of. It can't be anything too expensive, right? It's government equipment, but they were one of my favorite things. I always bought my own boots, but these right here, I've learned how to use them very well, and they don't do me wrong. Another option you can look at, I know these don't look like bug out socks, but I just happen to have an unopened pack of them here. These are what I use for training and everything, and they are completely cotton free. They consist of 96% polyester, 3% spandex, and 1% rubber. So you can look for stuff like this. I'm sure a lot of your sporting goods stores will have them. Another thing to consider is stuff just to keep in your bag due to the fact that seasonal. Like in my bag, I didn't drag all my clothing and stuff out right now, and I'll show you why here in a minute, but I keep at least a lightweight fleece in there at all times. I'm not talking about just a pullover, I'm talking an actual fleece jacket. And I won't even take that out during the summer, because most of my clothing I pack, I'll tell you right now, I pack my old Army uniforms. They're very good for this kind of thing. But the fleece is something I just keep in there year round. I don't get used to not having it in there in the summer, so I dedicate something else to its space. And it's a very handy item for the winter. Another couple of things I keep in there, I keep a fleece cap and at least a light set of gloves. You'll never know what you'll need them for, and it's better just to get used to having them in there now. Clothing is probably one of the most customizable areas there is, and you'll have to take your region into consideration. I'm in Tennessee. I will not be bugging out in Arizona. I don't know what you'll need specifically in Arizona. I will tell you a few things though. When you take into consideration your pants and everything, If you're on a budget, hey, classic denim never killed anybody. I carry my Army uniforms, like I said, but I would not hesitate to leave with a good old pair of jeans. To me, they have a decent drying time if you hang them up or put them by a fire or something. They're durable. And even if you are somewhere extraordinarily warm, by the way, don't bug out in shorts. The sun will hurt you. And bugs and everything. Protect your skin. Like I said, if you're on a budget, jeans are a great way to go. For boots, I wear Army boots. They're probably a little bit better than what the Army issues because I buy them myself still. But again, those are a decent way to go. You'll want to get some time in them. Like I want you to take your ruck out, you should probably do it in those boots. If you don't go that way, there's a whole plethora of hiking boots and shoes and whatnot, whatever suits you. For my backups, I just keep my old pair of my running shoes in there. I give up the space for it. That way, if something happens to my boots, they're wet or whatever, while they're drying, I'm not walking around with nothing on. And like I said, they're just backups. They don't take up a lot of room or weight as far as shoes go. But another thing to consider when you're staying away from cotton, one of the hardest areas to cover will be your undergarments. And I have a brand new, not worn pair of these with the tag still on to show you. These right here are the stretchy spandex sport shorts or whatever, bike shorts, whatever you want to call them. I wish more people would wear shorts over them like I do when they're out training. Same thing with leggings. I don't know when an undergarment became an outer garment, but anyways, these things right here, they're great because they're not cotton, they're moisture wicking, they dry pretty fast, and they are form fitting, which is another thing to consider. You don't want your clothing to rub you. So I keep 2 pairs of these in my bag. And I mean, I do a lot of training and stuff, so I have plenty in my closet. Odds are I'd put a pair on if I was bugging out. So these are something to consider right here. These are not expensive either. I don't think I ever buy the Under Armour brand for these except for winter thermal and stuff, just for regular training or to use as sports underwear or whatever. See, I paid $9 for these. They're not expensive. Another thing to look into that's not expensive is these right here. These are made by Outdoor Products, and they are called Ultimate Dry Sacks. You get them in the camping section at Walmart. And they look like this out of the box. It comes with 3 of them. You have the small blue one, medium red, and large yellow. And you can do a lot with these. These will keep your clothing dry. They cost $10 for this pack of 3, by the way. And they make a gigantic one that like I keep a sleeping bag in. And the way they work is you put your stuff down in it, and then when you're ready to close it up, you get down on the floor with it and you compress the air out of it, and then you see these 2 straps here. You roll it over and it encloses itself, and then you go against the strap and snap it shut, and your stuff is dry. And hey, wet clothing can be life or death out there. More than likely death, depending on where you're at. If nothing else, it's just a nuisance. So these sacks right here are a great investment. And it's not just that they keep your stuff dry. If you'll notice, you can color code them. I do in mine. In mine, I know that the yellow ones hold my backup pair of uniforms. I know that the red ones have the stuff that goes, my winter stuff in it, my Under Armour thermals and stuff. And I know that the blue ones are socks and underwear. That's great. Another thing is the material they're made of. They feel like a tent. That's because they're made out of the same material. Which means that if something happens to this thing, you can repair it with duct tape or a tent repair kit very easily, which is stuff you'll be carrying with you. So I think these things go a long way for $10. I've had a couple of them, or a couple packs of them in my actual bug out bag that I use for training and for camping and everything. I do use mine. You can take that rule how you want it, but I spend a lot of time in mine. But I constantly keep it stocked and everything. But I've never had to repair one of these except one time, and it still holds up just fine. So for $10, you can't beat them. That's what leads me into my other point, is that don't store your clothing the way you would in your closet unless you're still in the military or something or in training. But you know, every ounce and every inch counts in the bug out bag. So you'll want to roll your clothing. Like see here, my socks are this nice tight little ball, and the way this is achieved is this is an army roll. You just lay them down on the floor or something, put them toe to toe, lay them on one on top of the other, and roll them up from the toe, and then pull the heel over. And that way, I mean, if you folded them the way most people fold socks, they'd be about this big, harder to compress. I do this with everything. I'll roll these shorts up. The ones that are in my bag are rolled. My t-shirts are rolled. My uniforms are rolled. Everything. And that takes up a lot less space than it would if I just packed them folded. Take that how you will. My other recommendation to go along with your clothing, because even though I spend a lot of time doing this, I'll tell you what, those rubs will kill you. And the clothing can only go so far to avoid them. And I have this everywhere. I have 2 sticks of it in my bug out bag. I have a stick of it in my EDC kit. I carry one in my truck. I got one in my bedroom and one in the bathroom, and that is Body Glide. This is a lot of people think of it as a sports lubricant, and that's what it is. It's a balm. It looks like a stick of deodorant that is for your body. And I think it did start as a runner's product, but I mean, I used it when I was in the Army. I use it now. Hey, a rub is a detriment, and it could, inconvenience can just build on you. In a survival situation, everything that goes wrong piles up on you and takes a toll on your survivor's mentality. So, I recommend at least 1 stick of this in your bag. It'll go a long way towards helping you. And if you need directions for how to put it on, read the thing, but you put it where you can get it, is my opinion. Again, with the tops and everything, I don't have any to show you. I carry in my bag, I put the money into buying Under Armour and stuff. I do keep military outer clothes on there, but for the shirt under, I've got 2 different types. I've got the moisture wicking Under Armour, and I've got the form-fitting Army winter thermals. And like I said, both types are form-fitting. One insulates and the other pulls moisture away depending on what weather I'm in, but they'll go a long way towards helping you too. That way you can avoid some rubs and everything, and they dry very fast. And I mean, there's certain things you can skimp on, there's certain ones you can't, and as far as the clothing directly against your body, I would put the money into that Under Armour, especially in winter situations. Along with that, you know, if you keep like me, you keep what would you call it? You call them beanies, I call them beanies. I keep the fleece cap, there we go. But another thing to think about, at least have handy with your bag. Don't maybe put it in your bag, make it something that's on your list of grab on the door, hang it by your keys, is a hat. Keeping that sun off your head is great. You hear stories all the time, pioneers and stuff that had to walk back across Comancheria, and the only reason they lived through it is because of that big old hat on their head. Keeping the sun off is very important. I would recommend at a minimum a ball cap, but you know what? Get yourself a Stetson, a straw hat, something. My personal favorite is the Real Deal Brazil. You can order it from that website, realdealbrazil.com. It's the hat you see Tallahassee wearing in Zombieland. It's a good hat, but you'll need one. Just keep that sun off your head. Even in wintertime, it can be bad. But that's about all I have to say about clothing, people. Just make sure you can keep it dry. Make sure that it'll dry out quick if it does get wet. Have the extra set. Stay away from cotton, just about in all ways. Another thing I keep, if I'm starting to strap now my old Army Gore-Tex jacket to my bag, and that's something you can think of too. I'll keep the Gore-Tex jacket. You could keep an emergency poncho or something in there. I guess that falls under clothing if you had that. I don't know why I didn't say it before, but you know, I would keep some kind of light rain gear in there. I'd go to the camping section at Walmart. They got plenty of like the suits and stuff, but you know, it doesn't cover your feet, so you're gonna want extra socks. That's my biggest one, extra socks. But I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and just remember that with the way things are right now, you can start practicing your survivor's mentality right now. And I hope everybody has a good night. Stay safe. And I hope I've helped you move a little bit forward here in your survival and bug out bag building. A lot of this information, you know, like I said, is the same as a hunter safety course. It's pretty common sense stuff as far as once you hear it, it starts to be the same and you understand why. But again, I hope I've helped you. And if you have any questions, you can find me on the 3 Percenters Club Tennessee, the 3 Percenters Club, or Puget Sound Preppers. And we'll be happy to help you out. Everybody have a good night and God bless now.